Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Running in Circles podcast. We're back with another episode on a Sunday. In today's episode, we're going to talk about getting a job and everything around it. The job market has been in the news lately for a lot of reasons. There are massive layoffs happening all around. Top CEOs are taking a lot of pay cut to fund their employees. So in today's episode, and it's also the summer internship season, by the way. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about our journey around that. And joining me in this episode are two people who you are familiar with. We have Nikhil joining us.
Always good to be back, Philip.
Yes, hello Nikhil. And we also have Rashmi joining us.
Happy to be here.
Hi Rashmi. So the first thing that I'd like to ask you guys is, what are some of the things that you consider while applying for a job? Rashmi, would you want to go first?
I think first and foremost, what you can look out for is basically categorizing what you would want to do as a full-time career. Once that you have that set in place, then it's much easier to apply for jobs going forward. You can just check out job titles and then filter out your search that way. And then after that, it's just all about going to that particular job post on LinkedIn or any other career site, and then making sure that your CV reflects the keywords on the job listing
Job
itself.
description. Yeah.
Exactly. So that you have a better chance of getting through the system, the ATS system or the application.
Yeah.
Applicant
I,
tracking
I
system.
forgot the full form of that. There's some. Okay. What is that again?
Applicant tracking system.
Yeah.
So
mm,
yeah, you have a better chance of getting through it if you do have those keywords in your CV itself. I mean, it is a task to go ahead and uh, always make sure that you have those keywords in your CV. But then again, it's essential, I would say.
yeah. Basically, like every company is getting thousands of applicants, right? So they're not gonna look at every resume, or even if they do, they're gonna look at like 3-4 seconds max. So like it's pretty automated. I mean, most companies it's automated. So if you don't
Exactly.
have those keywords, then
Yeah.
it's pretty tough to
And
get through it, huh?
and on both sides, it's a numbers game, right? And that's
Yeah.
what we need to recognize right away is that you need something that's gonna attract attention to
Mm.
get your application through the system. And the other part of it is even if you do have that, there's no guarantee that you're gonna get the one job that you want.
Yeah.
So you should just apply to as many as you can and
Mm.
just hope for the best, because
But
the people who get
yeah,
jobs are the
Mm.
ones who have just played the numbers game and won.
Yeah.
that's true. But that being said, you shouldn't like just apply for anything and everything. I would say, like, if you are an entry level position and you apply for a manager level position, your CV does get registered in the ATS system. So if you apply again, it seems as a duplicate rather than your a fresh CV. So just make sure that you're applying for, the particular jobs that you're well suited for rather than something that you might not be suited for.
Yeah. To add on to that, I would talk about your job role basically. Like let's say you're a computer science graduate, for example. Like even if you're a computer science graduate, there are so many roles that people are looking to you for. Like software is probably the biggest role that you are employed for. But apart from that, also, like if you're a CS graduate, there are so many roles out there for you. For example, data analyst is one role. Front end development is one role. Back end development is one role. Android development is another role. And
Yeah, so
yeah.
in that case, I think this is mostly relevant for CS grads. Maybe it's relevant for some generic
So,
g- core majors as well.
yeah, I
But
think
the thing
it.
is, the key there is to understand what you want to do. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be many roles that you're interested in, and
Yeah,
if you're just interested in one, that sucks to be you, because it's going to be much harder for you. But
yeah,
the key there,
100%.
I think, is to just tailor your resume. I mean, throughout your college or your undergrad, graduate
Yeah,
courses, you would have done many different
projects and
kinds of
stuff.
projects, and
Yeah,
you have much different experiences. So the key there is to tailor your resume for the kind of job you're applying to. In my case, for example, I used to have like different versions of resumes just tailored for different kinds of roles, and it's a lot of work, especially in the beginning. At some point, you'll have enough that will just cover all the roles you want to apply to. But tailoring your resume is essential, because even though you've done the same things, the way you prioritize them, the way you highlight certain things, is what makes all the difference when your resume is reaching the eyes of someone who's gonna go through thousands of those.
Yeah, correct. Like again, I think like um, engineering as a whole has so many different roles. Like again, like if you study HR or like law or something, then the job that you study. I mean, uh, the education that you receive is very aligned with the role that you want in the future. But like in engineering, let's say you're doing electronics, for example. Like there are still multiple paths that you can go down to in electronics. Like you could either go down in VLSI design, or you can go down to a path of verification engineer. And this is just an example. So yeah, that way.
I want to have to disagree with you a bit there.
Yeah.
Not every engineering job is cross compatible with engineering majors. Like
Yeah.
VLSI is very specific. If you've not done hardware design and if you've not done computer engineering as a major, I don't think you can make it there. It's very specific, and those projects, it's not like, there is the generic idea of the fact that anyone can go and learn coding in 30 days and then apply.
Yeah.
Not the same for niche engineering jobs.
Correct.
But yes, to an extent, you're right.
Yeah. Like if you see basically core engineering and computer science engineering, like core engineering, you need like way more education even after college to get better at the latest technology that is out there. So yeah, that's one thing. So moving on further into the conversation, what are the different ways that you reach out for a job?
I would say that you can, first and foremost, is to like check for jobs on job portals. That's just the common way to apply for jobs. But I would take it a step further, where once you apply for the job, there is an option on like LinkedIn or sometimes on other websites as well, where you can see who's the person that's hiring for the role.
Yeah.
So I would always go ahead and drop a message to them as well, saying that you are. I wouldn't say you're particularly interested in the role, but if you can find a common ground and start a conversation, and then you can showcase how you are valuable to the role later on in the conversation. That would be like a much better way of getting through to the job, because you're getting, not only applying for the job, but you're making yourself recognized as well.
Yeah.
I completely agree with that, and it's doubly good. There's two reasons there, because one is the fact that it works especially well for smaller companies, startups, and small to mid-sized companies, and two, it has the added benefit of improving your dating life, because you get so used to rejection.
Oh, absolutely. To give an example of that, I have for the summer internship season, so far I've applied to like 150 jobs at least, and rejections have reached at least 90 to 100 so far. So
you're lucky if you get a rejection. You just get ignored most of the time.
Yeah.
Most of the time you get
Ghosted.
ignored. Yeah.
The thing is, if you get a rejection, that means you've at least gone through the system. That means you've been filtered out.
They've seen your application
Exactly,
and they don't think you're eligible.
Yeah. So, I mean, getting a rejection email is actually a good sign that your CV is at least getting through. It's more about then looking for the specifics of what your offering is.
Yeah.
And then seeing how you can, add value to the role itself.
Yeah.
And one more thing would be to just, instead of just looking for jobs on the portals, what happens is a lot of these companies don't really advertise their jobs on the portals. They do it on their own career websites. So I would just say put the company name and then go to just say company name and careers on Google. And then you get a bunch of...
Correct. Like open positions, then you apply to them.
Exactly. And you can apply to them directly on their careers website itself. So that would be a much better way. And then I would say just like, reaching out to recruiters without even applying for jobs. Just if they have like a recruiter title on their LinkedIn page, it's just always good to have as a connection, because then you can just reach out to him and say, and ask them that, hey, do you have any job openings in the company?
Would you look at my resume? and
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can also you can take it a step further and reach out to the hiring managers directly. If you won't necessarily know who the hiring manager is, but again, these tips work a lot better with smaller companies. But you can look at that company's LinkedIn profile and look at the people with manager titles, or you know the job, you know what department it's going to be. You can look at the people and then you can just reach out to them, especially if you think you're very well suited to the job.
Yeah.
Probably you'll be able to express your interests and your knowledge and your capabilities to them directly way more uh,
Than through a portal can ever do.
Yeah.
than through a portal, than through a resume, or even through a recruiter, right? Because
Yep.
a lot of times, it's especially like niche jobs, like you just need to make sure that you
Wait.
are seen.
Can you tell a little bit about the difference between recruiter and hiring manager?
So the
So
recruiter is someone who hires for the role, like just sources for candidates or, checks if they are matching for the skills or not. Hiring managers is the one
Is the one
who's
that
interviewing
signs?
the person.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
so
So they
if
are
you
the ones
look
who
at it,
they're
then
reporting to essentially in the end.
yeah, it's like top of the funnel versus lower down in the funnel. Right? You start with the recruiter, and then you go through the interview process, and but the thing is, the ultimate decision maker is
The hiring manager. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So especially with bigger companies, you have recruiters who are swamped, who are overwhelmed, who may not always respect. Like big companies like Google probably gets thousands, if not tens of thousands of applications, and so you can't reasonably expect a human to all get through all the applications. So if you want to make sure you go through the system, or at least get recognized, you don't take a few additional steps.
Yeah. I would say one really good thing that worked for me is just on your LinkedIn profile, you have like the header, right? That comes right below your profile picture. I would say put your top 3 skills there. That is just highlighted over there, because even if they don't open your profile, they can immediately see what you are and
Good
how
at.
they can reach out, what you're good at exactly. And that will, immediately increase your reach by a lot more. But then again, one more interesting thing that I noticed was, I don't know if it's just the Dubai market or the UAE market or anywhere else, but one thing that I really was very peculiar to me was that when I did put out the specifics of what I did in the job on my LinkedIn profile, I got way less recruiters reaching out to me. But whereas when I removed everything on my LinkedIn profile and just kept the title of the job and how many years I've been working on in that particular job, I got a lot more people reaching out to me for roles. I think it's more so because of the fact that they can't immediately see what exactly you have been working on, and they have to reach out to you to know more.
Yeah.
So it gives them that opportunity
Like
to start a conversation with you.
you're being a little mysterious, not revealing
Exactly.
everything.
Yeah. So when you're there putting everything, like I had put my job responsibilities, I had put my skills, what everything that I'm good at in the lower aspect of it, that is, where you describe what you're doing as in your job. I had a lot less recruiters reaching out to me then. But once I removed all of that, immediately in like a week, I had like one recruiter reach out to me, and then in like about 4 to 5 weeks, I had about 3 to 4 recruiters reaching out to me.
Yeah.
So I don't know, again, if it's something that's just particular in this market, but I guess it's worth a try.
Yeah.
Another important thing that you can see here is, I think I'm going to have to take credit for asking Rashmi to put those descriptions in her LinkedIn, and clearly it did work. So you hear lots of tips. We've talked about a lot of stuff now. Not all of them are guaranteed to work. Some of them are probably.
It's you're just like,
and it's that trial and error thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Another, I think, no, I wouldn't say short also. Another way of getting a job is through referrals. Like, I mean, the process is the same, going through the company portal or going through a referral from an employee of that company. Both are the same process. You're not getting prioritized or anything, but, getting a referral sort of helps you get through that ATS system maybe sometimes.
Yeah, I would say it does. The thing
It
is,
does, right?
the referral does put you in like a position where the employee directly reaches out to the recruiter, so there's more of a chance for them to
For
see the
you to,
CV.
yeah, or like
Unless
even
the
schedule an
recruiter
interview. Yeah.
Exactly, unless the recruiter outright says that, oh no, they have to go through the portal, so ask them to apply for it. But most companies, I would say, they do have a referral program where
Yeah.
if they bring in someone and they do get hired, the person who is bringing in someone gets some kind of a bonus,
Yeah.
like a small incentive, I would say,
Yeah.
for bringing in the person.
Yeah.
So I guess it's always worth a shot to reach out to your contacts at any point and tell them that you're looking out for a job.
Yeah.
I've had mixed experiences with that. I've got
With referral.
a
Okay.
few referrals from, good different contacts that I've had. I think at big companies, they mean a lot less than you
Yeah,
think
yeah,
because almost always the person who's referring you has no idea who the actual recruiter is. So they just give you a link, you click that, and again, you're back to that ATS system and ATS. And,
Mm.
you have that maybe, you're probably a little higher up in the pile, but
Yeah.
you're still in that system. So
Yeah.
you still have to follow all the other tips to make the best use of that referral.
yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing that we can make use of in today's world is that you don't have to stick to your market. You can apply for remote jobs literally anywhere in the world. So
Yeah.
you can look for jobs remotely. Even that counts as like experience for you. So that widens the amount of jobs that you're looking for, the amount of opportunities you might get as well.
Mm. Yeah. Also, one last thing before moving on would be, according, like, I'm a student currently, so the benefit of being a student at associate with the university is that sometimes they have these university portals, like in India there is this portal called Superset, and in India, in the United States, there's this portal called Handshake. Basically, these portals are tailor made for students. They help you get in touch with companies and their recruiters, not hiring managers, recruiters. So, and like, if sometimes if they're open to a conversation, you can chat with them and talk about it. And yeah, sometimes university also organizes career fairs and stuff, which are sometimes helpful. Not always, but yeah, again, they help you get in touch with people, and that's where the conversation moves on.
I think
Uh,
sorry to cut you
Yeah.
off, but one small tip when you are involved in career fairs and stuff is that you would be facing the recruiter face to face. So that's a
Yeah.
really good opportunity to just not drop your CV and walk off, but rather to start
Talk with
like
them. Yeah.
talk to them or start networking with them, or even as simple as get their business card,
Yeah.
so that if in case you have anything in the future, you have their work email address directly, which you can reach out to, which is a very, very essential aspect of getting through the ATS system. That means you don't have to apply through the ATS. You can go directly to their work email, and
Yeah.
that visibility matters a lot.
yeah, I mean, as far as the career fairs go, I've been on both sides, and it's like the way I look at it is it's very easy to not find career fairs useful and very hard to make them useful. But when they are, they're gonna change your life. The one thing about career fairs is that a lot of times you actually have hiring managers show up. And I'm talking from a US perspective.
Okay.
Usually they have engineers or engineering managers or hiring managers just go to career fairs, especially at bigger universities. You have an opportunity to interact with them face to face. That is an opportunity that you must capitalize on. And the way you do that is you cannot be the generic, oh, I've done all these courses, I'm working on my master's, blah, 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 that guy, because that resume is going in the garbage can. The way you do that is you have to research the companies that show up to career fairs beforehand. You have to look at what interests you. You have to make sure that you have certain things in your background that will make you a fit for that role, and then you should be ready to talk about it, right? Because you want to make sure that hiring manager or that engineer or whoever it is remembers you, right? And it's not specific. I speak from an engineering point of view, but
Yeah.
any job, in any field, you have to make yourself memorable. A career fair is just filled with people. It's an ocean of people. And
Yeah.
the only way you can make it useful is if you make yourself memorable. as someone who's been to a career fair as a manager, the people who I remember are the people who
Are working.
talk, not necessarily, people
Okay.
who hear what I have to say about our company and, add to that conversation and really like, speak about their background in that and the kind of stuff they've done that's related to what we're doing. If you just say, oh, I'm doing a course, I've done these courses, I'm go almost through my, people will forget you, right? So it's gonna be mostly useless, but if you can spend the time and energy to capitalize on it, it's gonna change your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
any
basically,
yeah.
have conversations,
Yeah, it's pretty
Have memorable conversations.
yeah, have
memorable conversations. Yes.
Don't just talk about random stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So, do we have anything else to add here, or shall we move on to the final part?
Yeah. I think we can move on.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
So moving on to what is the final part of the conversation. What is your story on getting a job, and how did that go?
I think my story was, a lot of. Honestly wasn't even a story to begin with. I was just applying for a lot of jobs, but unfortunately, none of them worked out. But I don't know. I'm not sure if I was reaching more recruiters because of the fact that I was applying for jobs, or it's just that one recruiter saw my profile and they reached out to me and everything just clicked. But up until now, I would say I had successes only when recruiters themselves have reached out to me, or I have messaged the recruiter personally, or struck up a conversation with them on LinkedIn or something. I have not had any successes, I would say, just by applying on jobs on just for applying on jobs of sorry, just for applying for jobs on LinkedIn. But it does get you interviews. I wouldn't say particularly if it's related to your field or something that you would want to do. But then again, if it works, it works. So you
Yeah.
try and test whatever you have, and I guess something will work out.
Nikhil?
Yeah. So the way I look at it is going back. I mean, I've only had one job, and I've only been doing the job that I have right now.
Yeah.
But I have, spent a lot of time looking for internships and looking for this job that I got, right? So the way I look at it is your first job, your first internship is the hardest job.
Yeah.
The hardest thing that you'll have to do.
Yeah.
Internships in particular are insanely hard because there are very few internships and there are so many applicants. So
Yeah.
if you don't have contacts, you are most likely going to find it hard, if not impossible, to get an internship. I was fortunate to have, one of my dad's friends who worked at KLE, who was a semiconductor company, have an opening in his own team. So he was literally the hiring manager, and so
Okay.
that helped a lot. And I'm sure if I had to go through the system, I probably wouldn't have gotten an internship. So you have to be lucky. You have to know people. That's why the whole talking to people on LinkedIn is a great tip, because even if you don't know people who already have, even if you don't already know people who are hiring managers, you can just meet them and introduce yourself and all that. As far as full-time jobs go, it's a little easier because there are a lot more of those. The numbers are not as against you as you think. But again, these tips make a huge difference. There are a lot of resources that you should be looking into. One of the best things that I did was my university had a resume review system these are experts. These are people who've seen millions of resumes. I mean, thousands, not millions, and they will give you the
Tailor-made feedback.
Right. And so that is one of the best things that I did. And you have to just keep doing it, right? You have to just keep going at it. You shouldn't give up. One of the things, like when I was in the US and I was on my student visa, you have literally 60 days after you graduate to find a job, or, the whole OPT work permit thing goes away. Right. So I think I got a job maybe like less than 30 days, with less than 30 days left in my time. And, it's very easy, and I was very close to giving up. In fact, I was thinking if in the next 10 days I don't get something, I'm just going to pack up and leave. It's unfortunately, as an international applicant, you have that limitation, not so much if you're, a citizen or, permanent resident or whatever. So that, it's easy for me to say don't give up, right? That's the most generic tip in the book.
Yeah.
But these are, common and overused tips because they do make a difference, right?
Yeah.
You do have to not give up. It's not easy. It's very easy for other people to give you suggestions, but that's the way it is.
Yeah. I would also add on by saying that if when you're building your CV itself, forget the designs or the kind of language skills that you're putting in. I would rather focus on your, unless the job actually requires language skills, but the main aspect should be like how you can add value if you are an intern or if it's your first internship and if it's an entry level position, more so about what experiences you've had in your internships or volunteering experiences and how that translates into your work experience. And then it should be your education. I think that would be, a great starter for your resume itself, like excluding all of the unnecessary information.
Yeah. Absolutely.
One-page resumes.
One page is limit. Yeah.
One
Yeah.
page. No, it's in India, I think it's a little less enforced, but anywhere else, even in India, if you have a one-page resume, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
One-page resume is best tip ever.
Also, sometimes, like, I know in the US, you don't have to put like a photo, but here in the UAE, it's always preferred to have a photo on your CV. So I would say that's something small, but to be mindful of what your market requires. There are some specific CV requirements for each market. So I would say just do your research and go through those CV requirements first before you start building it, and then, wasting your effort.
When I got the job that I did, I actually had applied to a different role at the same company. And I didn't hear back from them for, I think, close to 15 to 20 days. And obviously I'd forgotten about the fact that I'd applied there. And my manager, this was a startup, so they didn't have too many recruiters. My manager himself directly reached out to me, a couple of weeks later, saying, hey, I know you applied for this. We don't have that role anymore, but you seem to be more fit for this role that we're trying to hire for. Are you interested in a conversation, right? So you never know what, even if something is not relevant to you, if you put the effort to tailor your resume for that, you will hear back. Like you never know what's going to work out. The most unlikely thing could be the, thing that changes your life. I remember reading about this one girl on LinkedIn where she applied for a job at Spotify, and her resume was she tailored her resume like the Spotify UI, right? So the whole thing looked like Spotify.
Oh,
and
okay.
she got hired, and it was a huge, it was very popular. It went viral on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Now she just got laid off recently, like everyone, like a lot of other people. That's a different story, but that's the kind of thing that you should do to get people's attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So to talk about my story of getting a job, I've gotten a job. I've gone through that job process, right after my undergrad studies. So, and again, it was in India, there is this placement season. So, companies come to the university and then they pick you up. So, that is a concept that's in India. That's not a concept here. There are career fairs for sure, but, companies don't come to recruit you here. So, so how it goes is, companies come with their requirements. Like, we want CS degree students, we want 8 CGPA students. So, there's a filter to the test which you have to give. So, a lot of companies that come on the first week, basically like the best ones, Atlassian, Google, Apple, they used to be, they come on day 0 of your placement season. So again, though that way, there are restrictions on what companies you can sit for. So the brightest minds in computer science, they get to sit for these companies, and then they have their own tests, and these tests are all hacker oath tests. Again, I'm sorry deviating. I'm being more specific to CS, but yeah, because that's my experience. So hacker oath, they give those tests. It's basically lead code, design an algorithm in the best time possible and stuff. So being an electronic student looking for a computer science job, it was of course very tough for me in the first month, because all these companies, they were asked, essentially they were looking for you know C++ based programming, and that wasn't my best skill set there. So I was feeling pretty dejected. I mean, I think it's pretty generic to say that whenever you're looking for a job, you're pretty dejected. But I think, again, as Nikhil said, the plan is to just never give up. You just keep applying, right?
Yes.
So yeah, so I, 1 month I wasn't getting anything, no replies, and there were so many tests in which I didn't even understand the question. So I used to just see the question and give up and look for the next company immediately. So again, that's why I would stress so much on the role. So what had happened was, the first company that had come for a data position, they had a test on Python, and that was like the first Python based company which had come. Okay, so that company had come, they had seen my resume, I did well in the test. Immediately I got scheduled for an interview, and yeah, that went good. I got a offer from that company, but then again, it was like the fourth year, right? So you're supposed to intern in like your fourth year. So uh, I I was looking for an internship, and then JP Morgan saw my profile, and they liked me. And they liked my resume, and yeah, I got a offer from JP Morgan. So between these two companies, I prefer JP Morgan, and basically I got my full-time role from my internship. So I know internship is like very hard to get, but like if you like, it's like an added advantage that you have compared to searching for a full-time role. Like, if a company knows you've worked with them, they're more likely to offer, like, let's say you intern in a company, they're more likely to offer you a full-time role than going through that process of applying for a full-time role. So
Yep.
that's the thing. So that I worked with that company for a year, and again now I'm back to studies. So now I'm looking for summer internships, but again, looking at the news, Amazon links 18,000, 12,000 people. I know so many of my seniors who are getting their job offers rescinded. It's pretty tough out there to get uh get a full-time role and even an internship, I would say. So, I think, to talk about this topic, it's a timely topic to talk about. And yeah, that's pretty much my story on getting a job. Um, so yeah, do we have anything else to add?
I would say, given the current climate, we're seeing every day we're seeing a new company initiate layoffs
Yeah.
and all that. It's, horrible stories. It's, people who've been in the company for, 10 plus years, just waking up to the fact that they don't have that job anymore. So, one of the learning experiences from that is that, you should, career is important. I mean, it's what, is what you spend most of your time on.
Yeah.
But you
40
should
on.
give it more importance than it deserves. You should always utilize the work-life balance that you are offered. If you have to work X hours, do that. Don't work weekends if you can help it. I mean, these are not tips people or everyone can just take and apply in their lives. But if it's an option for you, do that. Don't waste your life. Working hard for a company who will not care about you like you care about them.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right then. It was great having both of you, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.